I was working as a fact checker at Glamour magazine, researching a story about a young German woman living in Park Slope, an affluent neighborhood in western Brooklyn. She had given birth to a baby girl and took a quick trip to her native country, Germany, to introduce her newborn child to her family. But on her way back to the US, the woman was unexpectedly detained at JFK Airport. Though she was a legal resident and married to an American citizen, her travel permit contained contradictory information, not unusual. And it was about the expiration date, and therefore she could not re-enter the United States. I was in deep thought, making sense of how this could have happened to her despite her having double-checked with immigration officials before leaving for her trip, when suddenly the black plastic phone on my desk rang. It was my mother, and she delivered some desperate news in Spanish. Cogieron al papi. They took Dad. I knew exactly what she was talking about. My dad, a quiet and gentle man who had arrived in New York City from Cali, Colombia, soon after the 1965 immigration laws allowed peoples who looked like him from beyond the desired pool of Western European countries to emigrate to the United States, had been living in New York for 30 years. For the last 20, he had been sin papeles, or undocumented, but was working as a custodian for the city of New York, paying his annual taxes and putting his children through school. It turned out that a former legal infraction had created the grounds for what I was about to learn was called deportation in absentia. And now my mom was telling me that la migra, another one of those colloquial terms we use, this one referring to the recently formed governmental agency, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, had showed up to my dad's job unannounced, detained him, and escorted him into a black sedan. Where to, no one knew. I searched for my dad for hours. The ICE agents had left a business card with his supervisor, however. And when I finally got through to one of the officers hours later, I found out that my dad had been placed in custody at a local jail in New Jersey and would be deported sometime in the coming days. The following days were filled with harried visits to the Colombian consulate, the dark and dampy jail where my 65-year-old father languished without his heart medication, and the offices of several lawyers, most of whom basically told me to give up, saying there was nothing my family or I could do to keep my father in his beloved adopted country. I remembered the German woman and her successful fight to remain in the US. I located the article, and this time I searched for the buried clues to her victory. As I reread it, a blueprint emerged for what I was supposed to do. At some point, the German woman seemingly understood that in order to negotiate with one institution, she needed the help of another, because on her own, her voice and her cause would wind up tangled in bureaucratic red tape. So what did she do? She contacted the New York Times, who in turn reached out to Homeland Security, bringing the German woman's plight straight into the center of the government's attention. The following morning, I did the same thing. I reached out to a New York Times reporter who had written the story and asked for her help. She helped me hew a passage through the complicated terrain of immigration law. She put me in touch with the Legal Aid Society, and there I found a lawyer, a man my father still calls his angel, who took my dad's complex case and won it exactly 1 year later, free of charge. And today my father is a proud US citizen. Yeah, it's a big deal. Miracle.